The American Muslims for Palestine has been hard at work educating the public and media about Palestine and its rich cultural and historical heritage. Together with our coalition partners, we are changing the national discourse about Palestine and how U.S. taxpayers support the Israeli occupation with billions of their hard-earned tax dollars. The movement is changing, and Americans are becoming aware that their tax dollars are supporting a racist settler colonial enterprise in Palestine that is completely anathema to the American values of justice, liberty, and self-determination. AMP has been instrumental in this paradigm shift through the grace of Allah. Now it's time to take what we've learned, review our victories and challenges, and fine-tune our work with laser-like precision. AMP will set itself apart from all other organizations working in the movement because we are the only institution working for Palestine from the Islamic perspective. We are the only organization willing to create targeted projects based on our past experience that will move the cause of Palestine from a movement of liberally minded Americans to a household word, the cause célèbre of the American people, inshallah. For the past 5 years, AMP has been conducting workshops for thousands of Islamic high school students across the country and, unfortunately, we've found students don't connect with their Islamic heritage in the Holy Land. That's why AMP is contracting with curriculum development experts to create a Palestine curriculum according to U.S. pedagogical guidelines that will fit seamlessly into high school social studies or history lesson plans. In March 2013, AMP kicked off its first national ad campaign in New York City on the Metro North Line, the second busiest commuter rail line in the country. In the first week alone, more than 50 mainstream and international media reports included the language of occupation, Israeli apartheid, and U.S. aid to Israel in their coverage of the campaign. The same success followed in San Francisco and Washington, D.C. All told, millions of people saw the ads and hundreds of mainstream and alternative media covered the story of Israeli occupation.
A war of words between pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian groups is escalating and playing out in an unlikely place on train station platforms.
It's a controversial ad campaign that's stopping some commuters in their tracks. American Muslims for Palestine plans on placing these posters at 25 stations along the Metro North Line in the coming weeks.
So is the U.S. public ready to hear the Palestinian side of the Middle East conflict?
Now AMP will launch a new campaign that will focus on the pocketbook. In these austere times, Americans are questioning why we are sending billions of dollars to Israel when that money could be providing healthcare, education, and housing here at home. Relating the economic cost of Israel to the hardships Americans are facing will help them understand the issue in new ways. This ad campaign would have to be supported, of course, by a policy paper that would clearly highlight the economic cost to Americans for our financial support of Israel. Relying upon our relationships with investigative journalists and best-selling authors, AMP plans to contract with a highly credible writer to produce a paper which not only will be introduced to policymakers, congressmen, and think tanks, but also will be boiled down for the American public. Education is key, and such a report, though expensive to produce, is essential to bringing credible information to the American public. We know that much of the battle for Palestine is taking place in the media, whether that's in the virtual space known as the Internet or in other traditional outlets. An organization is only as strong as its website, which is its portal for information, its source of self-promotion, and the catalyst for the dissemination of its message. With a revamped website, AMP could hold virtual press conferences, interactive educational sessions, disseminate videos, reports, and articles, and create a space for continued public discussion about Palestine, inshallah. AMP's annual budget is smaller than the annual salary of Abraham Foxman, the director of the Anti-Defamation League. Even with a small staff, thanks be to Allah, AMP has had a huge impact. The ADL named AMP in its top 10 anti-Israel organizations in the United States and said that AMP is the leading organization providing anti-Zionist training and education to students and Muslim community organizations in the country. It is time to expand our staff to include a development director, IT specialist, and program director so we can continue with our current programs and implement our new projects. AMP is committed to working for justice in Palestine and to protect our Holy Land and beloved Al-Aqsa. We will not rest until the occupation ends, liberty reigns, and every Palestinian is able to return home. Can we count on you for your support? Remember, it is Palestine, and it deserves more.